Good morning, YouTube. This morning, I'm going to talk about how I got myself an instant cut flower garden for under $200. So here's the deal. If you've been following me for a while, you're probably thinking to yourself, Kristen, why do you need an instant cut flower garden for $200? Don't you grow all your own stuff? Why, yes, I do. But unfortunately here at the acreage garden, anything that I direct seeded just hasn't come up yet. I'm running out of time and I just want to make sure that I have enough flowers to sell. I have some weddings booked. I've advertised Shifting Roots in Bloom and I really do want to make sure that I have enough blooms available. So I decided I was just gonna go for it and fill up those empty spaces here at the acreage garden. And thankfully, one of the local nurseries to us actually does cut flower garden starts. I was super impressed by what I was able to get, especially this late in the season. So I just wanted to make a little video about it in case you're in the same situation. Maybe you also had crop failure, or you might be someone who just sort of learned about cut flower gardening, you're new to gardening, it's a bit too late for you to do starts, or you don't even feel comfortable with starts. I just want you to know that you can actually buy yourself an entire cut flower garden, maybe on a smaller scale, for around $200. So let's take a deeper look at what I was able to get. Okay, so first of all, this first tray is a little bit cheating because these were starts in my mom's garden. She plants a garden for me, so I give her my extra starts and any extra seeds that I have, and she does a section of her garden so that for reasons like this, if I do have crop failure, I have some backups. So I have a whole bunch of these cosmos. Unfortunately, I don't know what variety. The birds kind of messed up all the seeds at her yard, so anything that I planted, it's scattered all over the garden. And I basically just dug up these from the pathways where she didn't want cosmos. You could although get these at the greenhouse where I was shopping, and I had enough room in my budget that it would still be underneath that $200 mark. So we're good to go. Then next is the amaranth. This is a different variety of amaranth that I wasn't able to buy from the greenhouse. I think this is the Hot Biscuits one that's been doing really well for me. And yeah, so I'll plant some of this out. Then I have some bachelor buttons. These were not even intentional in my mom's garden. They went to seed from last year, which is exciting because it means I can save seeds from them and they'll come up year after year, and it's something I don't have to buy. And then finally we have some sunflowers. So I planted 2 packages of sunflowers here at the acreage and not a one has germinated so far. So thankfully these were at my mom's and they are pretty decent size. They're right on track. And then I think I'm also gonna start a tray of sunnies in my basement to maybe have a second succession, even though it'll be a little bit late. So in a perfect world, this next tray, I would have never bought this stuff this big. This is really not ideal, but beggars can't be choosers. Actually, I'm getting watered on a little bit. It's leaking water on my legs, so I'm just gonna set this down. So I was very excited to find these Madam Butterfly snapdragons. Sometimes in greenhouses I'll also see the rocket, but the Madam Butterfly, I like them actually a lot more than the rocket. Now, while this looks really exciting and you might think to yourself, oh hooray, I have a cut flower, I know what color it is, this is actually not a good sign. A lot of them in there were already this big, which is unfortunate, but I was able to find a few where they don't have blooms on them yet. This one I'm just gonna trim down pretty shortly after I plant it, and hopefully it'll bush out and give me a few more branches a little bit later. I just wanted to show you what the proper size of snapdragon that I would ideally like to purchase is. So right here, nothing is blooming. These guys are still pretty little. This is gonna do a lot better than those really long ones that I showed you before. Next up, I have some zinnias. Again, in a perfect world, my zinnias wouldn't be flowering yet, but that's all right. Zinnias are cut and come again flowers. I know I'm still gonna get lots of blooms from these guys. So I'll, again, plant them, cut these blooms off, use them in a little arrangement, and then I'll get a lot more blooms later. I was able to snag 2 different varieties of amaranth. So this one here is the Love Lies Bleeding. And then this one here is called Molten. I'm actually not familiar with it, but I love that I have these 2 different colors, which will be great in my arrangements for some contrast. This, I believe, is some salvia. The tag's not on it anymore, but I'm pretty sure this is what I picked up. I got quite a bit of it. Very excited about this one. Kind of a nice white, very light lilac color. Not sure if you can really see that, but I think I picked up at least 4 containers of this. Oh no, the tag's not on this one either, and I don't remember what this one is called, but I thought this would be a really nice lyrical supporting type filler flower. And that blue color, that bluey purple color is just gorgeous. Speaking of fillers and supporting flowers, I was very happy to find some of this chrysanthemum. It's super cute, and I know this will look great in my arrangements to just kind of go with everything. I was also able to get 2 different types of rudbeckia. Now the cool thing is, this type of rudbeckia is really not often thought of as a perennial. Where I live, it's generally an annual. But last year I covered mine up with some leaves in the fall, and actually most of them came back. So put these in a spot where you think you might want them next year and see if they'll come back from you. I only found 1 container of Status, but the nice thing is this is actually a different variety than the Status that I seed started myself. This is the Fortress mix, and I think I did all the QIS mix, so I'll be curious to see what this stuff looks like. And finally, I was able to snag some Bells of Ireland. I have had terrible luck with my germination on my Bells of Ireland this year, so to be able to get 12 guaranteed plants was so exciting to me. But wait, there's more. I'm sorry, I just couldn't resist being a little bit cheesy for you. So the other thing is that my dahlias are generally doing really well here, but I think there's going to be some holes. Some stuff just hasn't poked through yet. I mean, I'm still going to give it a little more time, but to hedge my bets and just in case I need to fill in with some plants, there was actually quite a few dahlia tubers for sale, and they were on half price. Now, to be fair, some of these dahlia tubers were terrible. I was taking a look at them, kind of feeling them up a bit, and there were definitely some I left there because they're pooched. They're not gonna work. But here's what I was able to get, and I think they should work out okay. So I got 1 Seattle, a Happy Hour, I think another Happy Hour. These ones were looking good. Another Cornell Bronze, and I think I got 3 White Juanestas. I'm not gonna drag all of them out here because it's just the same thing. But the nice thing about these ones is you see that green there? That is like my insurance policy that something is indeed living. It is going to work for me. So when I saw that the White Juanestas all had that little green sticking out of them, I just grabbed them because I knew those ones were going to work no matter what. Now, the only unfortunate thing about having to pop in dahlias wherever is that, like, if you had, say, a color coordinated plan with your dahlias, then of course it's likely going to be ruined. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers when you have garden failure or for whatever reason you're having to start late. All right, here is everything all spread out. This is what you can get in $187 Canadian if you need to get a cut flower garden in a hurry where you don't have to do any of the seed starting. It is just all done for you. So let's break down how many plants of everything that I got. So these are the starts that I had at my mom's that's kind of popped up on their own and I moved. So these are free. They don't really count in our total. Next, we have 8 dahlias. These were all for half price. Then these are just a few vegetables that I got that I needed to replace in bare spots in the yard. We have 23 snapdragon plants, 18 Bells of Ireland. I was able to get 20 zinnias. I have 12 of the Love Lies Bleeding Amaranth, and I have 4 of the other variety. I was able to get 20 salvia plants, just 4 Status, and I was able to get 24 Rudbeckia, 12 varieties, or 12 plants of 2 different varieties. Then this plant of mystery, I have 16 of it, and then I have 12 chrysanthemum plants. So, well, if you were growing a cut flower farm and this was like your main source of income, doing it this way would be super expensive. But for your average casual gardener who just wants some flowers for the table, maybe a bouquet or 2 to share with friends, being able to get a fully grown cut flower garden for under $200 is a fabulous alternative, especially because not everybody has the space for the grow lights or the windows or whatever. So I think if your greenhouse doesn't carry cut flowers as starts, I would definitely encourage you to talk to their manager. Say this is something that you and more people are interested in, and maybe if they hear from more people that cut flower starts are something that they would be interested in buying, then greenhouses will start carrying them. These 2 rows are basically my cut flower garden here on the acreage. So the dahlias, as you can see, are kind of coming up. Some of them are pretty small, see, like this guy, or over here, but they are coming. What else we have? Oh, maybe a few of those, I think. Nope, that's a tree. All right, so basically this is all weeds. Absolutely nothing has come up. We have a few more dahlias, which is awesome. They're doing okay. I might move some of these a little bit later. The glads that I pre-sprouted are all hanging in and doing okay. Over here we have just a little bit of stuff coming up. I think this is my calendula that I started from seed, but like I covered this, absolutely covered this with seeds and nothing. Like nothing here. This is all seeds underneath. Same here. Anything that's up, it's a weed. We have a bunch of thistles. I need to come in with my gloves and get those ones out. This is all supposed to be sunflowers and amaranth in here. And it's basically thistles, grass, and strawberries. Or sorry, not strawberries, raspberries. Super depressing. I really thought that because I made an effort to put compost on here and soil amendments, and we've been better about the watering, that I would just get more. And I'm really disappointed that it just hasn't made a difference yet. I guess we got to redouble our efforts and maybe invest in purchased soil or find a better source of manure. I'm not really sure at this point. All right, the garden is all laid out. I'm gonna plant right away, but I just like to lay out all the plants and sort of know my spacing generally. And I've arranged everything from shortest to tallest. So over here, we're ending with the amaranth, the bells of Ireland, those get pretty tall. And then over here, I'm gonna retry those sunnies again. And then basically, as you walk this way, you get to shorter stuff and shorter stuff. Now with the dahlias, those are gonna be taller, but that was with the old plan that I had. So I've just, you know, the plan's gotta change. I'm just basically trying to roll with the punches and make up a new plan as I go that's gonna work. I should also mention, of course, I'm planting in like plus 30 because one of the frustrating things is, and you know, I guess it's just the way things are, is when you have little kids, we do our planting when they're in daycare because they're just so little and we don't live here. It's so hard to try and plant when the kids are here with us. Hey YouTube, it's a few days later, and so I thought we would just take a quick look and see how that instant garden has gone for us. So the plants had a bit of a rough start. It was so hot, so windy, and even though I watered a lot, they struggled a bit. Most of them have pulled through, but some, like these Rudbeckia here, I'm gonna have to buy some more of them. The status, a lot of them also died. These two are gonna be okay. And pretty much all of my zinnias are dead except maybe this one. Everything else is doing okay. The bells of Ireland are all right. The amaranth had no problem. And then I think I didn't get to plant this section. It was so hot, I just kind of gave up. Some of my cosmos didn't pull through, but I have some new ones that I can throw in there. And then the salvia did great. These are looking totally beautiful. This one's really nice. And the white one there, I just sort of planted whatever, wherever. Snapdragons, I really need to cut these ones. I still didn't cut them yet, but we'll get to it. And then the shorter snapdragons have actually done really well and seem to be pretty happy. So there you have it, an instant garden for slightly under $200. Probably by the time that I buy the zinnias, that'll bump it over the $200 mark. Now, it was a bit foolish to plant during so hot of a day, but as I explained before, sometimes that's all the time we have and you do what you do. If you're also like me and you live in a cold climate with a short growing season, make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell. Also, I show up every single day on Instagram and Facebook, and I hope to see you over there so you can see exactly what I'm doing in my garden in real time. All right, friends, we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.